I think we might have conflicting thoughts on this review of After the Hunt, directed by Luca Guadagnino, written by Nora Garrett. Beloved by colleagues and students, Alma Olsen, who's played by Julia Roberts, is caught in the middle of a scandal when a star pupil, who is Ayo Adeberry, she makes an accusation of sexual assault against another professor, who's Andrew Garfield. Forced to confront dark secrets from her past as well as where her loyalties lie, Alma wrestles with the gravity of the situation and the impact it will have on her world. Firstly, I'm very surprised this has had mixed reviews. 43% actually, which means it's a bit of a stinker on Rotten Tomatoes.
You know, it has all the elements of being an amazing film. Julia Roberts, love her. Andrew Garfield, love him. Luca Guadagnino as the director, love him. I'm a huge Call Me By Your Name film fan. Soundtrack by Nine Inch Nails, pretty much.
Oh yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, yeah.
Yeah, closing musical number by Everything But the Girl. Who else? Oh, Chloe Sevigny. Like, this film is so... It really, on paper, it should be like Oscar nominated.
Did you recognise Chloe Sevigny?
Yeah, totally.
It took me a while. It took me a few minutes to realise that it was her because she looked different to me.
Yeah, they really muted her down, to be fair. But, you know, all-star cast, absolute great director, amazing music score.
I'm sensing a butt coming. There's a butt coming.
But I liked all those things. I liked all those things, but I hated the characters with such conviction that that's what really made me kind of dislike the film a bit, is the writing of these characters. I couldn't relate to any of them. I thought they were just all douchey and all out just to kind of like stab each other in the back, and none of them had any redeeming qualities other than they were successful educational elites. Me and a lot of other people, like, we don't really hold that in high esteem, you know, in our world. So it's like it's very hard to relate unless you're kind of in that Ivy League educational elite society.
Yeah, you're right, because Julia Roberts' character, I mean, they are all pretty awful, but they're all using each other and disposing of each other. But Julia Roberts' character, I don't think she really knew what she wanted deep down either, because she's in a marriage with Michael Stuhlbarg, who's playing her husband Frederick. We'll come on to him in a minute because I got a bone to pick with with his character. I am obsessed by Julia Roberts. I think she's such a brilliant actress, and I could watch her for hours. So I think she really made me invested in this film, because I loved seeing her going through it all. But yeah, she was pretty awful. She I think she was disposing people.
They all were. They were all just like, you know, you're only, you know, even though we're supposed to be so close and, you know, have these deep connections and relationships and we respect each other's opinions, like they all just hated each other. They all hated each other, wanted to use each other, wanted to stab each other in the back, did horrible things to each other.
See, I love that.
I do, you know, it makes for good cinema, but there was no hero. There was no
warmth.
There was no warmth. There was no relatability. It was just like, you people on the outside, you seem like very put together and you have your shit together, but on the inside, you're just one dark, empty, vacuous hole. You know, like,
before the accusation, we see the opening scene, and my eyes were rolling because I was thinking, if we're going here, I'm really going to hate this film. It's all professor talk, isn't it? We see Julia Roberts surrounded by all the people she's working with, but I could see where they were going with it because it was obviously deliberate.
Isn't that kind of a whole pastiche of what the film is about? Like, yeah, you've got these people who live in this upper class world, but they're not really upper class. They're really kind of scum of the earth. They're just kind of happen to be privileged in this world of, you know, elite philosophy and Ivy League bullshit stuff at Yale. And I don't know. I think that's the biggest problem I had about it. Maybe take this film, put it in a different setting, in a different sort of field or a different, more relatable environment. Like, I might have enjoyed it a bit better, but I was just like, oh, this is just academic snobbery. And the dialogue is great. That's what I love about Luca and his writing team and his directing, is like, I kind of live for the dialogue, and the dialogue does carry the film all the way through, but I couldn't even relate to one single character in there because I hated them all.
Do you know what though? Because they were so privileged and so entitled, and it made me realise that deep down, none of them were content. None of them were happy with their lives. They were all scrabbling around, grabbing hold of things that they thought would make them happier, and they weren't. And that's what I found really intriguing and quite satisfying to watch, was that these people were so ridiculous and so nasty. They were suffering. But it was their own fault, though.
And the suffering of the people around them. Like Julia Roberts, kind of put her students down all the time when the accusation comes out. She's so cold to, her student who's secretly in love with her and wants to be her and weirdly dresses like her. Maybe that's the message of the movie. Like, no matter what happens, we all are just a bunch of miserable fucking twats.
Or can be. Not all of us.
Yeah, or, and if that's a film that you're just like, oh, I want to go into higher education. I want to be one of these elite philosophy majors at an Ivy League school. Ooh, it doesn't paint that world to be very enticing or inviting. And did you notice, like, all the other sub-characters around them, around sort of the main principal cast, they were all portrayed to be freaking stupid. Compared to these, like, to the main cast, even though they were in the same environment, the same institution, the same, sort of living standards, but that it was like them versus everyone else. Everyone else was made out to be, like, pretty stupid.
But isn't that what's happening at the moment? We've got divisions, haven't we? It felt like, I mean, not necessarily just the class division with this, but when you put aside the intelligence thing and what they're doing for a living and what they're striving for as students, you get people that are fighting with each other that aren't able to see any sense or see a common ground.
The basis around their fighting and their bitching and their backstabbing and their intellectual digs, who cares? You're speaking sort of some language that's supposed to be superior to the rest of us because you're in this, institution at Yale, but who cares? Like, really, who cares? Who cares about your little frivolous little things that are made out to be such huge deals in this movie too?
It is uncomfortable, but I kind of like that. I like that.
Uncomfortable for me being, I'm 2 hours in the cinema seat and I need to move on.
I never got bored. I loved it. I know, like, I had a different, reaction to it than you did, but I did find it really compelling.
That's surprising. At the end of this movie, I was like, okay, list all of my favorite Luca Guadagnino projects. Call Me By Your Name, We Are Who We Are, Challengers, Queer. I was going through all of them, rating them, in my head about which one's the best one. And for me, this one is right dead at the bottom. Like I said, it had all the elements to make it a fantastic film, but I just think that this messaging and these characters aren't going to appeal to a lot of people. And I think that's why it's reflected in the Rotten Tomatoes.
I do have problems with it. I'm not saying it's flawless by any means. I had a real problem with Alma's husband, who is Frederick, played by Michael Stuhlbarg.
See, I thought out of the cast, he was probably the most brilliant, and he's in like every Luca Guadagnino project, and he's always has this fantastic dialogue and big sort of speech. But like, I actually, out of all the characters, I probably liked him the most because he was the most real, just like being he was a total bitch.
But was he though? This is
what
this really confused me because I think he's a brilliant actor. I think he was fantastic in Call Me By Your Name. But his behaviour was really strange because one minute you're seeing a doting husband who clearly loves
But
Alma.
He never thought he was lived up to that environment of, philosophy elites. He was always like, he was very much like, I am not in your world, but you would like me better if I was. But I'm just going to pretend because I know you don't value me as much as everyone else. Like, for me, he was the most outright about the whole thing because he didn't feel that he was a part of that whole thing because he was just a shrink and he wasn't in this elite philosophical academic world.
There's that scene when she's having a conversation with her star pupil in the kitchen, and he clearly is very jealous I mean, rightfully so, because obviously she seems very obsessed by Alma, or obsessed with Alma.
But, because, I mean, okay, it's a bit two-faced, but they're so horrible to him, and he was just like, well, I thought I saw it as, well, I can be just as horrible and bitchy and condescending as you guys, so I'm gonna waltz in here and be annoying and annoy the out of both of you because you don't think that highly of me. I mean, it's pretty much written all over their faces, and she's married to Julia Roberts' character is married to him, right?
So, I know, surprisingly, yeah, because she really neglects him, and I guess that's the point, isn't it? That he's aware of that, and he doesn't like the fact that she's always working or staying out late, going for dinner with other people.
Hands and foots her. He obviously worships the ground that she walks on, and it's pretty much written and framed on the walls like, "Oh, you'll never be good as Andrew Garfield's character." Or my star pupil. You're just some peon that I'm married to and gives me this great life with your great job as a psychologist. And it looks good on paper and makes me feel better about myself.
So were you applauding what he was doing? He's playing music in the living room next door really loud. So he's bursting through those, what are those doors called? Those louver doors. Pushes through those. Yeah, the swinging restaurant doors.
That was actually a very entertaining point of the film.
It wound me up, but rightfully so, I guess, because she deserved it, maybe. But
the ending, after all is said and done, there's sort of a nice little wrap-up scene of what happened, and the ending really annoyed me. I was like more cheering for the side characters, like her husband and Chloe Sevigny's character, who was like being taken advantage of as well. Had some really good points to make, but Alma wasn't listening to any of them because she's so caught up in her frivolous drama and her horrible things that she's done. Everyone just thinking that they're so fucking important.
See, that's what I loved, because I knew they weren't nice characters, but I just love to see them squabbling with each other. And
if you're going to ask me a comparison, this is the same thing as like the Real Housewives franchise, except set in an elite university academic setting. It's the same freaking thing. If you want to see a bunch of privileged people squabbling at each other over frivolous things for your entertainment, then man, you'll love this movie.
You might be surprised I'm going for a 4. It's one of my favourite films at LFF this year. And yeah, that's an eye roll. Raj is giving me eye roll. I'm guessing you won't be quite so kind.
I was going to give it a 3, but now, since you said that, I feel like I have to give it a 2 because...
it's because it's my fault.
Much. No,
God.
It's a strong... it's not even a strong. It's very middle of the road 3 because... I guess going back to the point I was making, everything, all the elements are there for a great film. And I like every single element of it on its own, but it was just these characters that I just did not like and did not care for. And if I ever meet anyone like that in my real life, they wouldn't be in my life.
I haven't mentioned there's some weird camera shots. Like, I don't know who the DOP is for this movie, but there was... A shot which went above them in the hospital when she's in the hospital bed, and the camera goes over their heads and almost like flips over and then goes back down. I was like, I didn't quite understand what the point of that was, but it looked quite weird. And there was also a weird shot where the camera was kind of sliding round. It went out of focus, then went back in focus. It felt quite woozy. Maybe that's why they did that, because it's made to make you feel woozy.
Hats off to Trenton Atticus too, who did the score for the film. But even the score annoyed me because it was super annoying, like the TikTok stuff at the beginning. Like, it made me uncomfortable. Like, I liked it. Like, it's very well done. Like, technically, very well done. But when you put all the elements together, I'm just super annoyed. And maybe
that was weird, the TikToking, because that to me it felt like there was going to be a big explosion, but there wasn't. And I didn't see the point of the TikTok. It just made me feel on edge.
There was a big explosion.
For the wrong reasons.
There was a big explosion, Phil.
Was there?
Of mediocrity.
So it wasn't the explosion I was thinking of. It's like, there we go. 4 stars for me. 3. You said it was a strong 3.
I'll give it a 3 because on its own, and individual performances, score, directing, all of that stuff is brilliant. I just did not like any of the characters, and I found them completely and utterly unrelatable.
And it's still at the bottom of your Luca pile.
It's at the very bottom of my Luca Guadagnino pile, which is sad. I mean, I didn't really like Queer that much either. It had all the elements of the things that we should like, but they weren't there. So I'm hoping that Luca gets a little bit back on track and gets his magic, because out of the gate, he was doing some really good stuff, but lately his projects have been a bit. Challengers was a bit similar, but at least the characters were all like athletes, some of them, elite athletes questioning their sexuality. But it is very similar sort of vibe, very dialogue heavy. But then I look at things that like Bones and All, super original, definitely different. Suspiria, I liked Suspiria way more than I liked this film. Yeah. Lately he's been missing the mark for me. So I really love him as a director. I love how he's really fostering some of these new actors and, bringing them up in the industry and, keep on working with really, talented people like Chloe Sevigny is almost in everything that he does as well. I like what he does, but lately he's been missing the mark for me.
Well, your reaction is pointing to the fact that he needs to do another horror film.
What is he doing next? He's doing something next that was interesting.
It's the sequel to After the Hunt, isn't it?
No, but he's got if you look on IMDb, he does got quite a few projects in the pipeline. So
Raj is like, it isn't.
in the famous words of our friend Sean, that could have been shortened by 30 minutes.
Yes. Oh, we miss you, Sean. Right, so LFF continues. We're halfway in. We've got about 10 more to come. So check out the playlist above. Your last words on LFF so far, Raj? What are you thinking?
You're putting us through our paces. I'm having to forego movies I really want to see because there's other movies I really want to see. So great job on the programming this year. Really, hats off. And I'm looking forward to another fun-filled packed week.